Hey family, what's going on? Klaus here, and welcome back to yet another Clash of Clans video, where today we're going to be covering Town Hall 12 and what you should upgrade first when you're upgrading to Town Hall 12. So first, before I say anything else, note the base that I'm showing you right here. This is a max Town Hall 11. If you did not max Town Hall 11 and you're trying to go to Town Hall 12, I recommend that you cancel your Town Hall upgrade if you're able and try to max out Town Hall 11 first, because if you haven't, then you won't be able to follow this guide as well as you would like. I'm starting with the premise that you maxed out your Town Hall 11. The way to check and make sure that you have maxed out is to select the builder button at the top. And if there's anything except for the Town Hall in the suggested upgrades list, that means you need to upgrade them to be maxed. That includes your heroes, and that will include all of your buildings and your walls, but it doesn't show laboratory upgrades. So the second thing I want you to do is go to your lab and notice how it doesn't show the white square that says research. Okay, if it doesn't show that white box showing research, that means that your laboratory is 100% maxed out for Town Hall 11. If it does say research, then start that upgrade and then wait until it's done before you go to Town Hall 12. Or if you know it's your last one, you could time it to end before your Town Hall upgrade is done, because I believe going to Town Hall 12 takes 14 days. Now we're going to be upgrading this live in the video. We're going to be spending the gems to finish up immediately. But I wanted to show you guys the screen because it shows you the new buildings, and that's how you should start any new Town Hall level. There's multiple steps. We're going to be going into detail here. Don't panic, but I want to give you the overlying understanding of what's going to be coming. Whenever you go to a new Town Hall level, you should focus on the new buildings, because that, especially the new defenses and traps, like those give you a lot of value on your base in a very quick amount of time. Then you also want to focus on your offensive buildings. That's your lab, your army camps, barracks, heroes, stuff like that. And then lastly, your traps, and then your defenses. That's the order in which I suggest that you work on things. Also, don't forget to work on your walls. That's kind of as you get extra loot. All right. So without any more delay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this Town Hall, and then we're going to talk about the brand new building. So bam, Town Hall 12 already ready to go. And by the way, for those of you that are freaking out, they're like, whoa, Klaus doesn't upgrade stuff with gems. He doesn't spend gems. What is this? I am in the Supercell development build. This is not one of my accounts that I use on a regular basis, so it's not real. It's not a real account. They're not real gems. All right, so guys, what is new? Okay, that's kind of an important thing. So we'll go into this, and you'll see that the first new building is called the Siege Workshop. I highly, highly recommend that you get this building as quickly as you can, because what it does is it unlocks the Wall Wrecker, and now you're able to use it on your own without having to use somebody else's, because at Town Hall 10 you upgrade your clan castle, and then you're able to receive Wall Wreckers and other siege machines in your clan castle. But now at Town Hall 12 you can cook your own. So let's go ahead and get that going. It's a 6-day upgrade, but of course you'll wait those 6 days and then you will have the workshop. And then while we're at it, if you upgrade it again, you will then unlock the Battle Blimp. And then if you upgrade it one more time, you will unlock the Stone Slammer. But as you can see here, you need over 10 million elixir. At max Town 11, you can only hold 10 million. So that means that you need to actually upgrade your elixir storages before you're able to upgrade your workshop to level 3. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But other new buildings and things to focus on, and again, that Siege Workshop is so important. You also get a new Tesla. I recommend getting that new Tesla. It's not super expensive. It only takes 3 hours, but then the DPS gain with a 3-hour upgrade is 34. That's a huge gain in 3 hours, and I'll show you guys a lot more about that here coming up. All right, let's bounce in. Let's see. We got another Inferno. Super important, guys. Again, the new buildings at a new Town Hall level give you so much value. Let me show you. All right, we're going to go ahead and upgrade that. 4.5-day upgrade. Okay, we'll gem through that. And if you look and see the information at, let's do a multi-Inferno, okay? Multi-Inferno, it shoots out 5 beams at 30 DPS each. That's 150 damage per second added onto your base with a single upgrade, and a short upgrade, 4.5 days. Let me show you guys the perspective, okay? 150 is the number. Think about 150. If I upgrade one of these Archer Towers, it only gains 12. And it takes 10 days. More than twice the time it takes for that Inferno Tower to give you 150 DPS on your base. So that's some major gains, y'all. Crazy amounts of gains. So definitely be sure and get your new Inferno Tower as quickly as you're able. And then you have a few new traps. And hey, all these are 0-time upgrades. The benefits are infinite because it's not going to take you any time for these upgrades to finish up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab all of these. We got the air bomb. I'll take that. Thank you. I will also take the new giant bomb. Thank you very much. Okay, and then lastly, you will get the Seeking Air Mine. I highly recommend getting all those. Again, 0-second upgrades, and like, look at the giant bomb. It gives you 175 DPS on your base immediately. Again, remember that Archer Tower upgrade? 12. 150, 125, whatever it was, to 12. Huge gains with the new buildings. But that's it. That's all the new buildings. Town Hall 12, super simple. You only get the Siege Workshop, you get the Hidden Tesla, 2 Spring Traps, the Inferno Tower, a Giant Bomb, and a Seeking Air Mine. So doesn't take too long to actually get all of these new buildings. So now let's talk about what you should upgrade first with everything else that's on the base. Actually, guys, I think it's important to note right now that the Giga Tesla, the Town Hall 11 that you upgraded to Town Hall 12, also comes with a weapon. That's the best part about Town Hall 12. And the Giga Tesla does crazy amounts of damage. Yes, it took 14 days for that upgrade to finish up, right? But you were going to upgrade it anyway. And you gain 150 damage per second, and it can shoot 2 opponents at a time. So you're gaining 300 DPS just right there. And that took 14 days, but then you get to upgrade your Giga Tesla 4 more times to a max level of 5. Each of those upgrades are super beneficial. We'll get into more detail on that later, but just something to note is that just by going to Town Hall 12, your base is much better protected. All right, guys, so I have right here the Town Hall 11 max levels of every building that you already had at Town Hall 11. That are represented here that get upgrades. Everything from offense buildings to a few resource buildings to the traps. And again, that's kind of the order. You want to work on offense buildings first. You want to work on the resource building second, and then of course the traps third, and then move on to the defenses later on. Again, there's a few exceptions to that, but we'll talk about those here in just a little bit. But for now, let's talk about what is most important, and that is obviously the heroes. We got the king, we got the queen, and we got the grand warden. At max 11, king and queen are both level 50, and the warden is level 20. There we go. But to max out the king and the queen to Town Hall 12 max, you need to get them to level 65. That's huge. Tons of Dark Elixir need to be poured into your heroes as early into the game as you possibly can. Now, I wish I could tell you these are your top 5 upgrades that you need to do day 1, but it's not that simple. There's a lot of really high priority buildings that need to be upgraded as early as you can. And it also has a lot to do with if you have the loot. Like, that's not easy, especially if you're not using any magical items or anything like that. I'm assuming that you are whenever you get them in clan games or something. But for the most part, most people play without spending $1. And so it takes a long time to max out your heroes. But I definitely recommend starting that grind now. Work on your queen, work on your king, get them to level 65 as fast as you possibly can. That's where your excess Dark Elixir really should go. The only other place that your excess Dark Elixir can go is either armies, of course, or your laboratory. And that's a day 1 priority. That one is probably the only #1 day 1 priority that I will set. Okay, you definitely want the laboratory to be upgrading as soon as possible, because then you can upgrade the troops and the spells and the siege machines to Town Hall 12 max level, and those are very powerful. So definitely upgrade your laboratory. Now you're probably wondering, why did you skip the Grand Warden? Well, the conversation was going in the Dark Elixir direction, so I wanted to keep things nice and simple. But yes, your Grand Warden also has 20 levels to go from max Town Hall 11 to max Town Hall 12. So definitely pour elixir into that Grand Warden if you're able. But as you could probably tell, it's really difficult right at the beginning of Town Hall 12 because there's also some major elixir upgrades. We've already showed you the workshop, okay? That's an elixir upgrade. It's very expensive. It is very worth it. And you want to try to max it out as soon as you can. And then the camps, guys. The army camps, all 4 get another upgrade. It's going to increase your army size from what appears to be 260 to 280. And of course, more troops equals more better, stronger attacks, right? So obviously a lot of your elixir, again, going into your laboratory day 1, a lot of your elixir needs to go into your warden as soon as possible. But the biggest grind, the hardest grind, I think, at an early town hall level is the army camps. So pour that elixir into there as quickly as you possibly can. We also have the clan castle. And of course, we want to upgrade the clan castle. You get some perks, you get some gains from upgrading that. It's always a good thing. You also have new levels for all three of your storage types. Now we're moving into the resource buildings. We just covered the offense stuff. Now we're into the resource stuff. Bear with me. It's about to get really interesting, okay? So the elixir storage, the gold storage, both go to level 13. And then the dark elixir storage also goes to level 7. So 4 of your storages, or 8 total of your storages, go to level 13. Upgrade those quickly, because again, you must max out your elixir storage to max out your workshop to gain access to your very own stone slammer. Then, and this is a really important one as well, your traps. There's not very many upgrades you get with the traps. So you get the air bombs. They go up, let me see, 1 level. All 6 of your air bombs need to go to level 6. You also get 1 tornado trap. It needs to go to level 3. And then don't forget, and I know this may sound crazy, but if you end up with extra loot, I know that's not very common, but if you end up with extra loot or wall rings, let's upgrade some walls, guys. You're going to have to get all 11 or all 300 of your level 12 walls to level 13. So, and again, those are ongoing grinds. So the heroes, the walls, that's going to be an ongoing grind, but definitely attempt to max out your offense buildings and max out your resource buildings quickly. That way you're set up for what really everybody's wanting to know is which defenses should you upgrade? But before we get into that, of course, you want to make sure that you have also maxed out your new buildings. We talked about getting the new buildings, and on the previous screen we talked about maxing your workshop. But what about that new Tesla? What about that new Inferno Tower? Get those to the same level as their partners. Like what I mean here is the hidden Tesla needs to go to level 9 to match up with the other Teslas. The Inferno Tower needs to go to level 5 to match up with the other Infernos. And then you have everybody in the same level, and then you can start that grind to move on to max Town Hall 12 level. So now that I've said that, without any more delay, without further ado, let's get into which defenses you should upgrade first and which defenses could you maybe wait on. All right, guys, so you have already maxed out your offense buildings, you've maxed out your resource buildings, their traps, you've got your new buildings caught up to the other levels, you've been grinding, working on your heroes, you're upgrading your laboratory, troops, spells, siege machine, or whatever they're called. Then, obviously, you're working on your walls. But what about defenses? Like, that is such a huge and important part of the game. So, a lot of people have different ideas about what defenses to upgrade first, or whether you should upgrade them at all. A lot of those want to hold on to a 0.5 strategy, where it's like, I'm going to not upgrade my defenses so I stay lower on the war map. Now, I'm here to tell you that as a runner of a very high-level clan who participates in the CWL on a regular basis, guys, we look for bases with max defenses. So I don't recommend delaying your defenses. I don't recommend that 0.5 upgrade strategy anymore. That's kind of an outdated strategy. And of course, engineering is also dead based on Supercell's updates that they've released lately. So that means that we are going to determine which defenses that you should upgrade based upon how quickly you can gain damage per second on your base. All right, and so I have an equation. I'll throw it up on the screen, but let me just explain how I came up with this equation. Basically, what I do is I'll take the DPS that this upgrade will give us. I will give it a multiplier if it's splash damage by 4, because it seems like, you know, an archer tower is hitting 1 troop at a time. A wizard tower can hit anything from 1 troop at a time to all of them at a time. So it seems like the average, the average shot the wizard tower does, it's shooting about 4 troops at a time. That's something that I came up with, and it seems to work. It's worked throughout the history of my channel. So if it's splash damage, like wizard towers, bomb towers, mortars, eagle artillery, things like that, then I gave them a multiplier of 4. I got those things, I multiplied them, and then I divided them by the amount of time the upgrade takes. Now, I don't really consider the cost, because I'm assuming that you're able to farm as much loot as you need in a pretty quick amount of time. So I don't really think about the cost, the gold or the elixir, whatever the cost may be. I just look at the amount of time in days that it will take for this upgrade to finish. And then I look at the range, because obviously something like the eagle artillery can shoot troops farther away than something like the bomb tower, who has only a radius of 6, while the eagle artillery has a radius of 50. Of course, you have to consider the dead zone in the middle. That's 7 tiles, but you understand what I mean. You get a number once you divide all those in. And then you get what I call the effectivity rating. And then I consider whether that defense can target the same types of troops as other different types of defenses. So that includes ground versus air. Something like the air defense can only hit roughly 30% of the troops available to you, as opposed to something like the cannon, which can hit roughly 69-70% of the troops. And then, of course, stuff like the Wizard Tower or the Tesla or whatever can hit 100% of the troops because they can hit both ground and air. So I take all that in consideration and I come up with my effectivity rating. Now, I'm going to give you the numbers, but those aren't really the important thing unless I mention it. Most important is that we're going to go with the highest effectivity, the effectiveness of gaining DPS on the base, as opposed to a lower number, which means that upgrade really doesn't help you much. So the number one upgrade at Town Hall 12 is the level 3 Eagle Artillery. And guys, it is ridiculous how much gains this upgrade gives you. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if you wanted to upgrade your Eagle Artillery day one, because it gives you so much. The effectivity rating is a 168. Okay, that's a big number. 168 is a big number. Most of that's because of the range of the Eagle Artillery, but that's what makes the Eagle Artillery so beast. Okay, here's for some perspective. Our very bottom defense, which, you know, as you can see here, is the cannon, which would be that max level 17 level upgrade. Cannons get 2 levels at Town Hall 12, but the effectivity rating of that cannon is 0.3. Yes, the Eagle Artillery was 168. And the cannon is 0.3. Now, you might think, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Trust me, okay? And again, I'll share all my information. I'll try to get it in the description or whatever, but believe me, the Eagle Artillery is definitely number one priority for you to be upgrading. The next thing that you want to focus on is the Giga Tesla. So I wanted to put in the level 1 upgrade. You already got it. You just happen to inherit all this DPS, right? It shoots off 150 DPS per shot. It gets 2 shots per second. So it's an absolute beast. The range is 10 tiles, which is nearly the highest if you don't consider the Eagle Artillery. The highest is 11, that's the X-Bow. But the time is a 14D upgrade, so that's kind of what slowed it down. But the effectivity rating of the level 1 Giga Tesla is 19.5. That's a high number because on my list here, it's actually number 4. But I wanted to explain that because number 2 is another level of the Giga Tesla. Oh, and by the way, the number 3 on our list is another level of the Giga Tesla. And then this one's number 4. And then, by the way, number 5 and number 6 on the list are also levels of the Giga Tesla because you get 5 levels. In other words, you want to upgrade your Giga Tesla as quickly as humanly possible, okay? So level 2 Giga Tesla, the one that you'd upgrade it. It has an effectivity rating of 23. That's higher than level 1, which was a 19, okay? All right, level 3 is 39.8, basically 40. Level 4 is 11, so not that much gain, but still a lot more gain than any other defense on the list, except for the Eagle Artillery. And then finally, the Max Giga Tesla. And I'm telling you guys, max out your Giga Tesla as fast as you can because the gains, the effectivity rating of a level 5 Giga Tesla, because you're gaining 1,000 damage per second in a Giga Bomb once it dies. You have to use the Grand Warden to survive that, okay? You have to use the Eternal Tome to survive the Giga Bomb. So it's so clutch that you have that. The effectivity rating is a 136. That's a huge number. Not quite the 168 of the Eagle Artillery, but still amazing. All right, so you're going to upgrade your Eagle Artillery and you're going to work on your Giga Tesla ASAP. All the other defense upgrades are important, but not near as important, okay? So number 3 on the list that you can look at, okay, is the Inferno Tower going to level 6. Remember, you have 2 Inferno Tower. You have 3, actually. I didn't fix that on my screen here. But you have 3 Inferno Towers. Upgrade them all from level 5 to level 6, and the effectivity rating of that upgrade is 3.6. All right, the X-Bow upgrade will, you get 4 of those, and need to go to level 6, and that effectivity rating is 2.1. So you can see there is a huge gains for the Eagle Artillery and the Giga Tesla, and then things are quickly coming down. Now you have the Wizard Tower going to level 11, and the effectivity rating of that is 1.5, so still good. It's above 1. I can't say that same for a lot of these upgrades coming up. The Bomb Tower going to level 7. Remember, there's 2 of those. You get an effectivity rating of 1.3. The Archer Tower going to level 16 is 1.1. Then you have the air defense, which, you know, some people may want to upgrade the air defense a little bit earlier, but this is what the numbers show. The limiter for the air defense is that it only targets air. So it only hits technically 30% of the troops that are used. If you assume that every troop is used evenly in the game, I had to assume that because Supercell's never released the usage statistics of each troop. So I did my very best there. The effectivity rating of that air defense is 0.8. Then you have the mortar and the upgrade to level 11. The effectivity rating is 0.7, so right below that air defense. Archer Tower, level 17, because you do get 2 levels of the Archer Tower. That's why they're both there. Level 17 Archer Tower, effectivity rating is 0.45. The exact same effectivity rating as the Hidden Tesla. They're identical. Do one or the other, doesn't matter. After that, you have the cannon going to level 16. So at this point, you haven't even touched the cannons yet, and you're like 80% through Town Hall 12. That's because the effectivity rating of this upgrade is 0.4. And then you have the mortar going to level, its level max, so which is level 12, and its level 0.38. And then finally, like I mentioned earlier, the lowest and worst upgrade that you could do at Town Hall 12, according to this equation, is the cannon going to max level 17 with an effectivity rating of 0.3. So again, guys, that is the very best that I can do at comparing all these by looking at the DPS, looking at the range, looking at whether it's splash or not, can it target ground or air. You know, I can't think of really a better way to do this. Some people have suggested adding in the war weight. The problem is I don't think the war weight stuff's public from Supercell, so I don't really trust anybody that's tried to calculate it. Plus, again, I want max bases in my clan. I don't want sub-max bases. So upgrade everything. It doesn't matter really. Like just max everything and definitely start with this Eagle and with this Town Hall 12 and you won't be sorry. So I got a few big time numbers, guys, to show you guys, but let's bounce back to my base first. Also, you may want to snapshot this because you're going to want to refer back to it later. Again, top to bottom, left to right, priorities. So the question will arise, I know it, down in the comments, people asking which troops should I upgrade first in the laboratory? I mean, I've upgraded my lab, it's now level 10, but what should I upgrade first? Well, you should upgrade what you use. That's my #1 suggestion for the laboratory. That all of the troops are too different to numerically figure out what's the best. So I mean, you know, rule #1, maybe upgrade the king and the queen, like the barbarian and the archer. That'll help with the king and the queen's abilities. But again, upgrade what you use, upgrade what your clanmates suggest, or what you see that big time maybe war YouTubers or whatever it is that you do. You know, upgrade the troops that they're using in preparation for doing those types of attack strategies. But I don't think it's possible, really, to do a numerical combination to compare each and every troop. They're all too very different to be able to do that. So I don't go into that. If you want more information, again, check out the comments. Here we are, guys. I'm back to now my max Town Hall 12, and here's some big time statistics. To max your Town Hall 12 from a max Town Hall 11, it will require 869 million gold. It also requires 483 million elixir, 1.5 billion with a B, billion gold or elixir to max out your walls. It'll also require 9.5 million dark elixir. Those are some big numbers, guys. Also, let's assume somehow you got here with only 2 builders and you maxed out Town Hall 11. It would take you 700 days to max out your Town Hall 12. If you have 5 builders, which most people have 5 builders at this point, it'll take you only 280 days. That's less than a year. If you happen to have Otto, the 6th builder from Builder Base, then it will only take you 234 days, cutting off about 50 days. And then, lastly, your laboratory, 386 days, just a little bit over a year. Again, this is all assuming you don't use any magical items, you don't buy the gold pass. If you do, then those numbers obviously will be significantly smaller. But guys, that's gonna have to do it for me today in this episode, in this Town Hall 12 upgrade guide. I covered every building that I'm aware of. I double checked my work. If I missed anything, or if you have any questions, ask them down in the comments. I'm sure others will help you, or if I happen to see your comment, I will help you out as well. But that covers Max Town Hall 11 to Max Town Hall 12. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, hey, give it a like. Thank you for watching. Also subscribe, because I do daily Clash of Clans gaming videos, Let's Play series, and other guides. So I would really appreciate it if you would join the Klaus family for daily Clash of Clans gaming videos. Remember, guys, that I love each and every one of you, and I will see you all again next time.